Silica Early Access is here and much sooner than anticipated. The RTS FPS hybrid genre is anything but saturated, and that's likely because it is so difficult to satisfy the desires of both strategy and FPS players in one game. Martin Malitrek, the project lead and sole developer currently, has given Silica a very promising start for both ends of the spectrum, but there is definitely a lot of work to be done yet. In spite of this, Silica is incredibly fun and captivating. I haven't had this sort of experience with a video game in a long time. You know those games where you're not sure why, but you just want to get home and play some more? That's a good feeling that doesn't come around very often, and that's how I feel about Silica. I've played a few full matches as Commander and Soldier, as well as tested out all the units and maps so far. I've got to say, the game has an incredible foundation for something special with a huge amount of potential for longevity and an ever-evolving meta that could carry this game for years to come. However, Silica has certainly shipped with quite a few fundamental problems that need to be addressed throughout its early access so that this game can thrive. And while some of these problems relate to the fundamentals of the game, for example map balance, AI and player agency, the great news is, these problems are all quite fixable. So let's start with the good. Silica is a very good looking game, especially when you consider just how much is going on at once. Between the deserty haze, the alien storms and the nighttime battle tracer fire, the game can really offer an awesome experience. It really feels like you're fighting arachnids on the dunes of Arrakis. Combined with the game's excellent sounds, the immersion factor is high. For an RTS FPS on this scale, there is some lovely detail from top to bottom, like the Harvester's Balterium tanks slowly filling up or emptying when collecting and unloading, or the fact that every building can be entered on foot.
Guess, like it's been doing.
Yeah, well this AI is actually going inside the building. It's not going to do what I wanted it to do, but it actually went in the building. Oh, it did! It killed Stewie! Stewie! You got wrecked by an AI commando, my dude! The scale of units feels perfect. Goliaths are truly monstrous, and the sight of 100 crabs charging you or a hunter chasing you through a base can quickly cause panic. There is a day-night cycle, which quickly changes the feel and your ability to fight the enemy in every match. A great touch for an RTS FPS hybrid. The environments feel vast and hostile, with maps like the Badlands hitting you with some wicked sights. The fun factor is ultimately there with Silica, and my community and I have had some great fun already. The battles feel epic, and you find yourself imagining just how good and intense this game could become further down the line, when players are more attuned to the game and matches start going down to the wire. The music of Silica is truly awesome, courtesy of Scott Buckley. Music this good has the power to really elevate a game's experience, and in Silica's case, this music will change nicely in relation to what's happening on screen, which really aids, once again, to that immersion factor. After playing quite a few games with my community, it is clear the speed of matches could use some work, but I do feel the overall pacing is done well with respect to the different phases of a match. There seems to be a valid early, mid and late game, for example, where early on you're relying on faster, lower tech units to get things done, with the option to progress to bigger and better units, while your strategy changes along with them. This doesn't mean your low tech units lose utility though, as dealing with the light units often requires a similar response, and harassment with vehicles like the light quad is viable throughout the game. Overall, and importantly, the experience of Silica feels good. It'll be up to Martin and his team to really clean up this diamond in the rough throughout early access to realize its full potential. So let's talk about the bad. There is a massive amount of fundamental RTS quality of life missing in Silica. There are no unit audio cues on unit or structure selection, and when giving commands, there are currently no commander warnings when your units or structures are under attack, and nothing flashing on the minimap to catch your attention when it's needed. And, well, the minimap is simply too small to really see what you need at a glance. Additionally, while you can create unit control groups, Double selecting that control group does not take you to their position, and using the minimap while a unit is selected basically deselects it. You got to realize, guys, that I can't, when I give units hotkeys, I can't double click the hotkey to get back to that unit, so I'm having to manually move around the map, which is a little bit archaic. So sending your units around the map quickly and accurately is cumbersome. The maps look great, but they are not conducive of balanced gameplay. Starting areas need to provide the same amount of resources and the same opportunities for expansion, for example. Symmetrical maps are a must in my opinion, and if we're going to go with asymmetrical maps, at least make starting positions balanced and symmetrical, providing factions with equal opportunities to succeed and customize their strategy from the beginning. We can go double refinery, but only one Balterium field here. Let me find another one. Another good example of bad map design are certain maps where your starting base is immediately vulnerable to cliff-based attacks, which are horribly difficult and almost impossible to deal with as humans, but much easier to deal with as aliens. It's impossible to get units into hard-to-reach cliffs, where alien units can hit your base and units with impunity. This just isn't fun or fair to deal with, in my opinion. Maps should provide equal opportunity for both sides to play to their strengths, but an I win if I get here strategy should not be possible. While on the subject of maps, starting areas, at least for the humans, need to be flatter, so we can place structures the way we want without being at the mercy of the environmental design. For example, sand dunes blocking large areas inside your base for placing structures. This is frustrating and leads to extended periods of time where you are trying to place structures in a logical manner, but ultimately are incapable due to the map's design. AI and pathfinding. Here's one thing that isn't surprising, but the AI and pathfinding needs work, and nowhere is this more obvious than with the Harvester. The Harvester is gloriously big, it's clunky, and it's industrial looking, but its basic pathfinding is bad, resulting in economic victory by default for the aliens right now. The Harvester will catch on fields of Balterium, fail to turn in the right direction to free itself of obstacles, and often get into traffic jams with other Harvesters and units. Another thing I don't like at the moment with the Commander is you don't get any interaction prompts. For example, if I move my mouse over this Balterium, it's not like highlighting it as if I can collect it like I should be harvesting it. And again, like the Harvester is dumb. Another glaringly obvious pain point is AI-friendly fire. The rocket launcher is a particularly volatile-friendly unit, single-handedly destroying friendly structures and units if you are not careful. If an alien crab gets atop one of your harvesters, vehicles, or structures, friendly units will make quick work of both until nothing is left. This obviously needs to stop, so I think they should make it so friendly units should only use accurate weapons fire like machine guns and the hover tank's coax to get rid of alien joyriders unless specifically ordered to use their main weapon. As you can probably tell, most of my issues revolve around the RTS mode for now, but when you're running around on foot, base signposting is a real pain in the arse. Yes, you can aim at structures and look at the information in the bottom right of your screen, but buildings should be immediately obvious without relying on your pointer. Some form of base signposting, either via structure visuals or something highlighting individual structures on the map, would go a long way to improving the on-foot experience for your players. Another major point for FPS players is the lack of ability for them to contribute to your faction at all times. There should always be something for a player to do once they spawn, whether that's contributing to building early structures, collecting Balterium, or aiding in expanding your base. In early game, your players often need to wait for additional buggies to be created to feel useful. The map and areas are also so vast, it's hard to move anywhere quickly on foot. Now, it is early days, strategies and metas haven't been developed yet, so this could change, but I'm just throwing ideas out there. Perhaps players should have access to some player-only utility roles. An example would be a player engineer or the scout that could build special nodes for the aliens or outposts for the humans, which give you further reach than the ones the commander can build, allowing you to expand quicker in the early game. They could jump in one of the starting buggies and race off to the direction you wanted to expand in. I don't know, just an idea. It's a small one, but being able to easily identify player units versus AI units would also be helpful when you're on foot. Just a name tag when highlighting a unit would go a long way here, and it's something I imagine is already in the works or something that Martin just didn't get a chance to put in before early access. As I said before, Silica is a very fun, immersive, and beautiful looking sci-fi game that is attempting to tackle a notoriously difficult genre. I believe it has what it takes to succeed here, and most of the problems I've described, while not all of them, should be easily fixable over time. The game runs well, though I do have a pretty strong computer, and the experience of playing Silica is a positive one overall. It's up to us, Martin and his team now, to fully realize this game's potential. Once a lot of the bigger problems at hand are dealt with, we can get into the nitty-gritty of balance and meta. Stay tuned for more videos on that. If you enjoyed the video, please do subscribe for more. Let me know by leaving a like or a comment. Let me know your thoughts about how you found the game so far. What are your sticking points? What are the pros and cons? If you'd like to get to know me and my community more and experience some of my live content, you can tune in to my live stream at twitch.tv/detox. Whoa! Run! Split up! Use the rocks!